This is it.
Okay, so everyone out there listening, watching, there might be video on this. We'll see how it turns out. You are listening to the Cory Experiences Life podcast. And this is episode, I think technically number 4. And today I have another guest. This is my friend, Darlene.
Mm-hmm. Hi. Hi.
Darlene Deschamps. I don't think I've ever said your last name.
What?
I don't know if I have. Anyways.
It's weird.
I'm going to let you introduce yourself.
Okay. Hi, I'm Darlene Deschamps. And I guess I play in a band. I sing in a band called Pine. And here I am. This is I. That's what I got for you.
The drink is sketching me out just a little bit.
Is it?
Yeah.
You worried about it?
Well, I just don't want it to spill on the console. Sorry.
I also don't want it to be like ages away.
Ages.
I'll just have to reach.
Cool.
You worried about your phone falling?
No, I was just looking at myself.
Oh my god.
Yeah. All right, so tell me tell me about your band. I made a cheat sheet here. I don't want this to be like an interview though.
Yeah.
But I want you I think you're interesting, and I think you have interesting things to talk about that people would enjoy listening to. So,
All right.
I wrote down some things on a cue card last night.
Okay.
Yeah, gave it some thought.
Wow.
All right. Well, since I've known you, that's basically, or when I met you was at the start of your band. So tell me talk about like starting the band from your perspective, where you were in, oh God, this is turning into an interview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to just like keep talking then. Yeah. I'm figuring this out. But yeah, so since I've known Darlene, the first time I talked to her digitally was when you and Christina did an acoustic thing.
Yeah.
And then I reached out to your Facebook page. And
I was thinking
like,
about that today, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, was that our first message?
It's like, hi, I really like your acoustic music. I would love to record you guys. And then one of you two replied and said, like, yeah, we've like heard your name or something like that. We're like, yeah, we're interested. How much does it cost? And I was like, this is when I first got the job at the studio here. So I was like, I told the hourly rate. So I was like, it's $34 an hour, $39 an hour plus tax. And you guys were like, oh, that's too expensive.
I was like, wow, I'm poor.
Yeah.
I'm poor and 20.
But then your band turned into a full band soon after that. And then you had money to, was that a burp?
Yeah, it was.
That was good. I'll be sure to turn that up.
Please don't. It was not, I didn't want it. It just kind of came.
Is that acid reflux? Is that what that does?
I would say so, yes.
Do you need Tums?
Nah, I think I'm good.
I don't have any Tums. I think Taylor does, but yeah. Then your band became a full band. Then we ended up recording in 2014?
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so 2014 is actually summer 2014 is when the band started being a band. So I think we were recording in the spring? I think it was spring 2014. No, spring? Fall. It was fall. I'm trying to think about time here. It seems like it was like 10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely a different lifetime.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, no, I think it was like April. It was April.
I have no idea.
It was definitely
all
April.
I know is that it took 6 months plus to mix it. It was 3 songs. That was, oh man. Okay, now everything's coming back to me. So the reason why Holden is in your band,
yes,
is because we were tracking. I think we recorded drums in a 4-hour session with Paul Zoba, DeZoba, and then when it got to guitar tracking, I was like, I'm gonna bring my friend Holden, because at that point I'd only tracked guitars with my friend Holden.
he was being our tone god.
Yeah, well, basically he had a pedal board, so I was just like, yo, come, let me use your pedal board, guitar, and amps, because I don't know if this band has good stuff. And then he ended up laying some guitar tracks down, and then you guys jokingly were like, you should join the band, even though you already had 2 guitar players. Mm-hmm. And then it became reality, and then I think he quit Old Rules for the first of like many times.
Yeah.
But then I used that as an excuse to quit Old Rules, and I think to this day he's still in Old Rules. And I have
no idea anymore.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know what goes on. so that's how he ended up joining. We finished tracking the songs. Yeah, we did like hourly sessions. Like it would be like 3 hours here, 2 hours there, and then it took me like half a year to mix it because I was like, it needs to be fucking perfect.
But considering it was kind of like a mess on our part,
Oh,
you did a really good job.
Well, it's one of those things that you look back at, like in the moment, you're like, oh, this matters. You know, you're like all caught up in the moment, but then you look back at it like 4 years later. 4 years? It came out in 2015, January 2015.
3.5.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's just a learning experience. It's like the things that you have to go through to like be like, ooh, okay, well, I learned this from doing that experience, and I learned to not do this.
And there's definitely like a progression from when we first recorded with you to the split to Pillow Talk. Like there's clear differences when I listen to them.
Yeah,
and you can hear your growth, and it's year by year. And like I think the biggest jump you had was from when you recorded our split into when you did Pillow Talk, and there was like a huge difference there.
Yeah, big time. It's funny. A big reason why I wanted to like talk with you is because I think we both started our journeys at the same time, like more or less, and as well as we like grew together in different ways and stuff like that. So I've seen like you grow from the start of, I guess, the music experience, or when you started taking it seriously, right? Because you played in a band before, right? Is it on the internet?
Somewhere.
All right.
It's somewhere on the internet, and no one needs to talk about it ever again. But I didn't write any of it. I have no actual credit on it except for singing what I was given.
You did the stage moves though, right?
I did.
Is there any videos of that?
No, we played one show.
Damn, dude.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Was it easy core, or was it like hardcore?
It was like a Day to Remember, but like a girl band.
Nice.
Well, with one girl.
Female fronted, right?
Yeah, that whole thing.
What do you think about that? I have an opinion, but I want to hear yours first.
About people calling it female fronted?
Yeah.
I think ultimately, like when someone says it's female fronted, I don't get offended, but I get proud. I don't think it's a way to label a band as a genre specifically. I think that doesn't make any sense. But ultimately, if someone's going to call it female fronted to me and describe it that way, they're right. I do front a band, and I am a female, and I'm proud of that. And if you want to emphasize that, cool, heck yeah. But ultimately, at the end of the day, like, we need to recognize women as not just another thing. It's just as a whole. You're a human being who's in a band. It's not like, you know, for instance, Safe to Say. We don't call Safe to Say male fronted.
A Filipino fronted band. I mean, I do.
You do. Anyways, you know what I mean. Ultimately, it's supposed to separate that whole like gap that we have with women in the music scene, specifically alternative, that is created by using terms like those. It's not necessarily that they're offensive. It's that I think that you should be using them, maybe sure as a descriptive word, but when you're genre naming and stuff like that, it has nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like that's, I guess it's just like fact, right?
Yeah.
If you are a female in a band, whether you're, I guess specifically talking about female fronted, if you play in a band and you're the only female and you sing, you get the option, you hear female fronted thrown around. But I've seen, you got to be careful in this current social climate. Well, what I've like seen, and I don't have a specific example of it, like I know several bands that have like a female singer, and I've seen some people be like, oh, they called us female fronted, and I'm a male, obviously, so I can only do so much to try and understand the situation from that perspective.
Yeah.
But there's also advantages to it. What?
I just keep kicking the stand, and I keep hearing it, and I'm like, ah, damn.
That's okay. Yeah, like I've seen people. I really wish I had a specific example. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but I've seen people like be like, oh, that's we shouldn't call it that,
Yeah.
or like take some sort of offense. And I totally agree. Like, it's not a genre. Like, you know, you play a kind of music.
Yeah.
But I've also seen people benefit from it, and I've seen some pretty
Agreed.
shady shit, or heard some shady shit, like between the suits or like booking agents and stuff, where there's like, oh, we'll put this band on a package because they have a female and it fills the quota.
Yeah.
Which is, they're doing it because, again, in this social climate, they're doing it as a front to like look good, show
Yeah.
that they are progressive or whatever they're
Yeah.
trying to show, but they're actually only doing it.
Because there's apparently a quota now.
Yeah, which is like, I mean, it's a complicated thing, and we don't have to get into it.
It ultimately, it's a good thing in a way, because at the same time we're getting in there. Now we're getting in there, right? And at least hopefully that will help people normalize it. At the end of the day, you're always going to have people like that, and you're always going to have the big man saying this is what it is. But I think where was I going with this? I'm not good at talking, man.
Neither am I. That's okay. That's the fun part.
This is the we're not good at talking podcast.
No, see, that's why when I was like, okay, when I was thinking of it, I was like, how am I going to do this? Because first of all, even when I like talk to my parents, I feel like a dumbass sometimes because I have such a hard time. I have like a thought, and when it comes to articulating it, like putting it into words,
Got a lot of brain farts.
yeah, like I amaze myself at how not articulate I can be, or how like I'm trying to be very clear, but I over like complicate it, like, and I just don't get to the point. And even making like those YouTube videos and stuff, man, I got so much footage of me just like being a moron. Yeah. Anyways, it's a skill that I'm trying to learn, but that's why I was like, I got to just name this podcast Cory Experiences Life, because then there's no like, you know, I'm not trying to front as someone that knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, all in all, this whole female thing, I don't think people should be getting angry, but I do think we should use the term appropriately. And there was something I was going to say about, I often wonder, like, just because I am a female, that if I am part of that quota. So that is something I've thought about. Like, you know,
Totally.
you look into it and you're like, oh, I'm like the only one here.
And it's a lose-lose for everyone, because you don't want to feel like you only got an opportunity because of that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to not get an opportunity because of it.
Exactly.
As well, like, it's a weird, complicated thing that's like, we don't have to comment too much on, like,
I just want to be taken seriously.
Yeah. No. And and you are.
Yeah.
So let's go back to like talking about, I guess, your band a bit. So yeah, we recorded that. Took a billion years to for me to mix it, and then we put it out, and that was cool. I remember that being a special moment. I remember that day.
Yeah.
All of us hanging out at the house.
Yeah.
I think I took a picture holding on to Holden backwards on the
Yeah,
couch.
there was a weird moment there.
That was good.
Yeah, I remember crying a whole lot, happy tears, the day I released You Bury Me. Because it was like, you know, I finally released something that I was proud of, that I helped create, and with like a bunch of people who I loved. So,
and yeah, it's like, to, I guess, the consumer, you know, they just see on January whatever someone put out music, but like there's so many months and like life decisions.
There's a lot of time and everything, you know, jobs and.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have one.
yeah, whatever, Mr. You.
Yeah. But okay, so so that's like talking a little bit of the start. Obviously, there's a bunch of shit that happened, obviously, in between then and now.
Yeah.
But where are you now? Because I remember talking to you and like, you know, just getting to know you and seeing, like, I don't know, and I can relate to it. When you start a band or when you start some sort of endeavor, you have a vision of how you want it to be. You see what other people are doing. You want to achieve what they're doing.
Yeah.
And you kind of have these goals, and you might think through them. You might be like, I want to do this, and then this step, then this step, then this step. Or it might just like happen, and you kind of like figure out what you want to do as you go. Like, and so how are you feeling now about everything you have achieved? And are you, let's start it with like, are you amazed, or like, are you amazed of like what you've been able to achieve, or is this more than what you think you were going to do? Is this just part of the process? Where are you at with your band and the success you've achieved now, and how do you feel about it?
Ultimately, I'm really proud of myself and Holden and everyone who's been in and out of it. In and out of it. Obviously, I could cry right now.
That's good.
Yeah. No, I am. I'm really proud of it. I don't think I expected anything when I first started it. I didn't know how far I was going to get. I didn't know what at all to expect from it. But I knew I wanted to learn it and do it the best I could and give it my best go before I couldn't. And so obviously, like, I'm not exactly where I want to be, but considering the time I've put in, I think I'm in a really good position. And there's a lot of opportunity ahead, long as I continue to work hard and not let discouragement get to me, because that can happen every other fucking month.
Yeah. Cool. You mentioned do it while you can. What do you mean by that?
Do it while I can. So, like, the whole reason I started Pine had a lot to do with, like, myself and thinking about when I was older and what I would regret if I was on my deathbed, essentially. It's like, what's gonna bother me at the end of the day that I didn't do? And music was always in the back of my mind. I was always too full of anxiety, and I wasn't really confident enough to do it for a very long time, or do it seriously, or do it my way, essentially. So that ended up changing, obviously, which was like a whole other thought in itself. But that's another topic. What was the question?
Well, you mentioned when you were talking about, like...
Oh, deathbed. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, deathbed. Anyways, so I thought to myself, after cutting off my hair, bleaching it blonde, I was like, what's wrong with my life? You know, I just was like, I need to do this. What I need to do is I need to pursue music. And if I don't do it now, I probably won't be able to do it later. And, you know, I can always go to school later.
Yeah.
I can't always do this. And I think now's ultimately the time for me to do it.
Why can't you always do this?
I think age is a huge factor.
And why is that? I'm not trying to, like, pick or pry or anything. I don't have, like, any intent.
Yeah.
I'm just...
I think a lot of it has to do with, well, one, the way the industry works.
Specifically, alternative music.
Yeah. One day I'm going to be old.
I mean, you can always do country.
Oh, God, that sounds like my personal hell. No offense, country lovers, but offense.
Yeah, we have a lot of country listeners that listen to this podcast.
I'm sure we do.
All of us. I think out of the 6 people that listen to this, I think at least 50% are country listeners.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But...
Yeah, no, I totally understand. And I would agree with you. I was just kind of seeing your perspective
there's
on
kind
it.
of just like a timeline for it. And if I'm going to do it when I'm younger and at my prime, I guess I would say, is my best, and better to learn now than later. And I have a life that I have to eventually shape, and I can't do that.
Yeah. Yeah, you have no response. Well, you have less. You don't have kids.
Yeah, I don't have kids.
Your responsibilities are, less than what you'd probably imagine they'll be in 10 years.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing too, age, as unfortunate as it is, age is certainly a factor when it comes to playing alternative music.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like it's a weird thing. But depending on your specific genre within alternative music, especially if you're playing pop punk, I think it's way more of a, I mean, you're not playing pop punk, but I think it's way more of a factor because the fan base is younger and they're looking for relatability. Like, why are you doing this? You are doing, well, not to put words in your mouth, but you were inspired. It was an outlet when you were younger.
Yeah.
You were going to shows, and that's how you got into the whole world, right? Mm-hmm. And look at anyone that plays in a band. No one just fell into doing, oh, I guess I'll do this. Like, if there's money here, let's find it.
Oh, yeah. Tons of money here.
So I think the relatability is a big factor. But yeah. So, was it last year? You guys announced that you got signed?
Yeah, it was about a year ago.
So tell me. So I think there's kind of a gap in the
half interruption.
When it comes to like playing in a band, going back to like goals and stuff, I think every band ever looks up to bigger bands or whatever, and the bigger bands are signs, and then like everyone and their parents know it's like that's a milestone. You want to get signed, and some bands know what that entails, some bands don't, but ultimately every band wants to get there. So as well, okay. So with that being said, I'm learning, guys. Don't worry. Like I know in my experience, people ask you like, so how do you get signed, or like, can you do me a favor? Because there's this kind of like gap. Whether the band's bigger, better, whatever, it's totally besides the point. When you announce that you're signed to a credible label, it gives you credibility.
Yeah.
So whether you're doing something or not, it automatically gives you a leg up on other bands. And as stupid as it is, it gives like potential fans a reason to care about your band, right?
Yeah.
Today, I could be listening to your band and go, oh yeah, they're cool. And then tomorrow you announce that you're signed, and now I'm stoked. And I was, oh, I was there, yeah. It's totally superficial and stupid, but it's reality.
Yeah.
So can you talk about your like experience of like how you got signed? Because it's kind of a wacky way.
It's definitely up there.
But that it's like that's what happened, and it's led to opportunities. So it's I'll let you talk about that.
So essentially, like we were planning to like, create this like lovely little package for us to send to a bunch of labels that we were interested in, and we're like, here's our lovely little pillow talk. Please take it. But we sent a lot of emails. Nothing really happened, and I wanted to submit to No Sleep, but for some reason I couldn't figure it out, even though it's on their website, but I just couldn't figure it out. But we were on tour and we were on our way back. I think it was the last date from Everyone Leaves and Fossil Youth tour. It was very short, our part. But we were on our way back, and I was on Twitter, and Chris from No Sleep posted that he was tweeting at Dine Alone is what happened. He was tweeting at Dine Alone, and so I saw it, and I liked it. And then he liked something of ours and followed us, and I was like, ooh, nice, fancy. And then he posted on Instagram that he hurt his leg, I believe, and that he's going to be posted up for a while and to send demos. And I was like, oh shit, so you can send demos here. How do I do this? And I ended up just following him on a bunch of things, and I submitted the demo right there in the van at like 2 a.m. or something. And I was like, oh, I found it. I sent it right off. And I woke up in the morning and he was following us on everything. He had sent us messages, and then we exchanged numbers and we started talking. So it's literally because I liked a tweet that he made at someone else.
Just like how AC/DC got signed. No, but I think so I described it as like a wacky situation, right? Because it's not conventional. It's most likely not really repeatable in the exact same steps.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's not like this rock and roll story. Like, it's not this like...
We tweeted.
Yeah, right? It's like a really like 2017 or whatever thing to happen. Yeah. But it's making and taking advantage of opportunities, right? Yeah. And even if that failed, you would have still attempted to do it throughout. Like, you were just shooting, right?
Yeah, I was just going for it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I find I've been asked, like, from working on records and stuff and working with really talented bands and stuff, they're like, how do we get signed? And it's like, okay, let me look at every situation that I've seen and I know the details about, and they're all different in their own ways. Yeah. And there's a lot of gatekeepers. A lot of times you have to do it through managers that have built relationships and have like having a working relationship with a label and stuff. And it's a really...
Or purely networking.
Yeah. Or, I mean, the ideal goal is having such a good fan base that, well, basically you start generating revenue, and then the label sees that and they go, I want a piece of that pie. If we give them some of our resources and use our resources to help them, how much more money can we make?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty cool. So
yeah. It's interesting. And I've had a lot of people ask me the same question since we signed with No Sleep. And they're like, how'd you do it? Like, can you hook us up? Like, I want to send our like EP their way. And like, I'll always do it. I'll always
Yeah.
do it if I believe in the band and I think they're hard workers and
Totally.
they're meant for that world and they can do it. Hell yeah, I'll send it right off. And there's no promises at the end of the day. Like, I've sent some incredible bands, but to each
Yeah.
their own. But I think, ultimately, there's no real way of doing it. Just do the best you can and just like keep working at it and, be
Yeah.
confident in yourself. And, if you're doing the work, hopefully it'll pay off.
Yeah, it's exactly that. Like, it's,
All you can do is try.
you have to put yourself in a position to get that right.
Yeah.
Like, and yeah, I mean, we could go into great detail and great length about it, but yeah. So I totally had something that I gotta look at my cheat sheet here.
Uh-oh.
Back to my interview.
Oh, here we are in an interview.
How is managing life, playing in a band now that you are? Can I disclose your age, or is that like top secret?
Go for it.
There's a voice crack. On Facebook, when is your birthday? Does it show your age?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
That's good. I don't.
If I was like 48, I'd be like, hell yeah, I'm 48, bitches.
Well, at 48, you have nothing to lose. I assume. I haven't been there yet. At 48, it's like...
You're assuming what
you're
it's
just
like to be
packing
at
it in.
48,
Yeah.
Cory.
You're just like, oh, hopefully I got family close to me. I don't know.
Oh, maybe.
Hopefully no one that's 48 is watching this. Sorry, Mom.
Sorry.
Yeah, so how's managing life now compared to... Well, okay, let's just start with how's managing life now and band, because it's really abstract. It's so you can't relate to anybody that doesn't
No.
like, and people like to think that they know kind of what it's like or entertain the idea, or if they
Yeah.
have some experience in like some different realm of the industry, they're like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, it's like this.
And you're like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. I know for me, like, it's probably my least favorite thing to do, even to the point when I go home to my parents and like,
Explain
oh,
people
what are you doing next?
how it works.
It's like, I don't want to talk about this.
I typically don't mind talking about it because I kind of want to, I want people to know. I'm like, yo, it's not that easy. I'm not some rock star. I'm not
Yo.
playing huge stages because for some reason people are always like, oh my God, you're like famous. Like, I'm like, no, it's not like that at all. Like,
What?
the industry is definitely not what it used to be, and it's super segregated.
Are you saying rock is dead?
Rock is almost dead.
Yeah.
In like kind of not in a way.
Do you think you'll be the last rock band?
Essentially how I explain it to people is I'm like, well, there's this huge underground scene that's really, really big actually.
We haven't seen sunlight in like a couple of years, but
It doesn't leak into mainstream very often,
We're hoping
so
to
you
hit the
don't know
surface.
about it, but there's still rockers out there. Little do you know. But yeah, explaining it to people, weird, but in terms of day-to-day life, maintaining life, managing life, trying to figure it out, I'm constantly trying to figure it out. I think since
chaos.
it is chaos. Specifically right now is chaos. Like, this is the most chaos it's been. And
Right now?
right now here. No, like at first it was just trying to find a job that was willing to let me leave for chunks of time, because with a band
Big
comes
time.
touring and making a lot of book offs and having no money. But you need money because you live on your own, you're paying rent, you have a phone bill, you have all the normal stuff everyone else has, but you're
go
in a
Starbucks.
band that you have to pay to be in, especially at the beginning.
Yeah, it's like a business where you have like
You're investing.
you're investing and everyone that's giving you advice is telling you not to invest, but you just keep putting more and more into
Just like,
it.
it's no big deal.
So there will be a return one day. You don't get it.
Yeah, essentially. But yeah, no. And what I've turned to in terms of the job section is, like, there was a while where I just wouldn't tell people and I'd just be like, all right, I'm leaving, goodbye. And then I have to find another job. And then then I started being open about it and being like in an interview, like, hey, so like, this is what I do. This is my priority, and you'll be my priority, but only when I'm home.
And when do you want my autograph?
But like that way I'm being honest with them, and cuz I don't want to be hopping job to job. I that's a lot of anxiety for me, and going into a new place with new people and like hoping it works out. But there's always a catch cuz I'm still working jobs that technically I don't want to be working, but it's what I gotta do.
They're part of the 6 people that listen to this. You can't let them know.
Don't tell them. Anyways, but obviously serving is not my dream, but here I am bartending and serving most of my time. And it's just so I can do that and pay rent and eat and all the fun stuff. But I've been in and out of like at least close to just under 10 jobs since being with Pine. And
Wow.
I think that's been the hardest part, is finding the job that's willing to do it for me. But the last 3 years I've been really fortunate, and I've found jobs that are willing to just let me, go off for 3 weeks every 2 months for a year straight. And then sometimes it doesn't work and they just start cutting your shifts and all that fun stuff. But I'm lucky right now. But at the same time, it feels like soon enough, like I'm going to have more and more book offs, and I might not be lucky forever, but hopefully by that point, I won't need it. Ideally, but I probably will. But yeah, it's like I also still have, on top of me working 40 hours a week, I'm doing all my adult fun things. Lately I've been dealing with taxes, and that's stressing me out. But then at the same time, I'm supposed to be writing a full length and taking care of myself and my health. And like, it's hard to catch up right now. It feels like ultimately there's so much shit that's just weighing on me, and my to-do list is like from here to the end of the hall at this point.
It's a big hallway for everyone not watching.
Just so you know, it's a big hall. It's not that big, but big enough.
Yeah.
Where if the list was there, it was at least 1,000. But yeah, so it gets to be a lot, and right now it is a lot. But what I'm trying to remember is that at the end of the day, I have a goal, and if I don't do it, I'm just gonna beat myself up over it. So
what's the goal?
The goal is to be a rock star.
A sustainable rock star.
A sustainable rock star. Ultimately, I just want to play music and be able to at least pay my rent, whether it's like just a shitty apartment or not. As long as I can do that, and then I'll be happy. That
will make you happy. So that is
the start of happiness.
Okay.
Yes. If it can go bigger and better, then hell yeah. But I could be content with just being able to pay my usual bills at this time with it. I don't need to be a millionaire. I don't need to have tons of billions of dollars, and I don't think that's really realistic at this point anymore with how it is. But a girl can dream, and maybe it will happen, but who knows? You
gotta start daily vlogging.
Yeah?
Yeah. Trust me, I've tried, and I got a couple million.
Vlogging? Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Don't do it.
You don't think I'd be good at it?
It would definitely be weird, just because you're weird.
That would be my attraction.
Yeah, just this weird guy, and he's talking about all this engineering stuff, and I don't know what it is, It'll be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
It's okay. Your channel's working out good for you. Cory, how do you feel about making each video that you've been making, and what has it taught you since you've been doing it?
Taught me that, or it's taught me that I'm really not good at it yet, but that's okay because I'm enjoying learning. Making the videos in general, it's like a totally different skill set than anything I've ever done.
Yeah.
So that's fun because when you learn a new skill, if you look at if you put it into a graph of how much you're learning across time, it's like a lot up front, and there's a lot of things you can always be doing to
Yeah.
So then those skills are learning to talk to a camera. So it's, again, being more articulate, having more intent when you're speaking, knowing how to deliver or get to a point. Being knowing how to carry yourself on camera and stuff, and then you have to you know, you got the voice in your head like, oh, you're so lame, you're a YouTuber, you know, and you're like, oh, what would this person think? What would that person think? So it's kind of freeing in a lot of ways because I feel like I'm totally past the point of like, I don't give a shit like what people think about me. That it's and like it's interesting seeing yourself back. You learn a lot about yourself there. Obviously learning like some video skills, but that's kind of more tedious because the more time I put into trying to up like a production value, the longer it takes, and then you're creating a standard. Whereas I'm trying to make it as frictionless as possible. Yeah. So there's kind of a balancing point that I need to find there. But ultimately, freeing, fun to do on the side. I have some ideas that I think are going to be like more rewarding, fulfilling, and better, unique, interesting content that people like want to see. When I started it was all about like, let's make a video, let's make 2 videos, and just kind of throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, which is great because you learn a lot. Like you learn a lot from doing that. And if you know, that's like the biggest advice I'd give to anyone that wants to do anything is like, just start. Like
just do it.
It will never ever be perfect, no matter how much planning you do. It will literally never be perfect. Do your best, start, create something. You will learn so much from that just by putting it out in the world. You'll learn so much. People will like they will, I guess, criticize it, but not necessarily negatively, but like people will consume it and give you feedback, which is good. So anyways, it's been fun. It's been kind of not stressful, but like when it comes specifically to doing YouTube, you get like YouTube clock where it's like, oh, I haven't posted in 2 days. It's like it's a crazy, and then once you like get over like 5 days, you just like give up, but then you feel like a piece of shit because you like aren't satisfying YouTube, and YouTube rewards, the algorithm rewards consistent uploading. Like it'll push to more people from what I'm told. So as well, so it's not generating obviously any revenue at this point. Down the line, maybe there's some cool streams that I could tap into, which would be nice because when you work recording bands, you don't really make too much passive income unless you're like a songwriter and you're claiming songwriter royalties. So it would be nice to kind of have that down the road. Anyways, it's been cool. It's taught me a lot. It's been a nice, healthy outlet with like no real deal pressure, as well as for the most part, I do it all by myself. Which isn't necessarily a good thing, but like it's, you can only depend on yourself to create it. So there's a long answer to whatever your question was.
Yeah. What I could compare that to is building Pine for me. I've learned a lot. I've learned to open myself up a lot. I would have never stepped on a stage in a long time, like in a billion years, the way I do now. And, you know, each year was a different step for me. I was like, oh, no mic stand. Ooh, I'm dangerous.
I am now level 2. What level are you now?
I'm at least a level 5 because I do dance and I do some hair flips. But I could definitely up my game.
Yeah, level 6 choreography is right.
No,
like when you get everyone together.
No.
I'll teach you some moves. I know some.
Something to do with like windmills and crab coring. Or...
Well, as long as like when every chorus hits, the entire band is like a 360 jump in the air. Right.
What about like posse jumps, or is that what they're called?
Yeah, there's a lot of negative energy in the world, so if you can combat that by doing posse jumps, I think that would be that'd be best.
Yes,
you'd be doing the world a service.
Let's do that, please.
Okay. I'll do one more like kind of topic, and then we'll wrap it up.
Been that long already? Wow.
Yeah. See, aren't these fun? They start a little nervous. You're like, oh, who am I? Oh, I don't know how to talk, and then you get into conversation. It's cool. Anyways, so I've noticed that even in the production world, that the game has already changed since I like entered it seriously. Yeah. Like music as a culture has changed, production styles have changed, even within the genres that I specifically work on. Yeah. And I don't think it's slowing down. I think it's going to continuously change. So from a band perspective, how has it changed since you started? So like social media, how has social media changed, or the way you use it and the way you interact with fans? How has that changed? How has like promoting a show changed? How has, I don't know, even like group talking to a band, I don't know, like talking to your band. Yeah.
See, I feel like it hasn't changed that much in terms of like the social media side of things. It's definitely like a bit more interactive now, and I think that's opened up and you can become closer with fans. But at the same time, I think my band ourselves like has been more interactive.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's just social media or us. Because before it was just like, here's a post, goodbye. And now it's, let's just chat, like, ha ha ha, you know?
Well, so one specific like example, now it's, if you look at like bands that are literally touring, I'm going to say 12 months a year.
Yeah.
It's posting at least once a day. If you look at a band like The Main, which I reference a lot because they are like super DIY and successful. They have like both.
Yeah.
They post multiple times a day, every single day. I don't know how it affects like an Instagram algorithm or anything like that.
Yeah.
And again, I'm a fucking nerd, so that like I say words like algorithm.
Algorithm.
But I mean, it's got to be working to some extent.
Well, definitely when we're on tour, we post a lot.
Yeah.
You know, at least once a day, and then we keep our stories going 24/7.
When I went on,
We're consistently updating.
Yeah.
But if we're together.
I'm trying to think of like more examples. Because I feel like I had some, like when I was looking back through Safe to Say's Instagram, our first post is after Hiding Games was released. Or like at the very start or something. Yeah. Like that's how, like in this small world. Now, I don't know if someone went back and deleted
Someone
some posts.
probably went back and deleted some stuff. There's no way that you just started Instagram back.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably
I'm
right.
probably right. Instagram's been around for a very long time.
But it was neglected or not neglected, but wasn't used
It
to
wasn't
its potential.
as like
Here's the thing.
important in band world for sure.
Would you rather have more Instagram followers or Facebook likes right now? Again, superficial.
Instagram, Facebook has been phased out.
Totally.
Pretty
So
good.
that's an example because Facebook likes used to be the
kind of
king.
fucked it right up though. They were like, "Hey, let's make it hard to have a business profile and let none of your followers see your posts, even though they follow you." And that's just a waste of my time. That's not fair. And
It's free.
No.
You pay for it?
They follow me. They should see the posts.
Yeah.
And then I pay for an ad, and then I get all these other views, but somehow it's not the ones that are following me, and even the ones I'm getting, they're not that beneficial. It's like every time I've made a promoted post on Facebook, I don't care what I'm supposed to be doing to sneakily get it to work. It should just work. If I'm going to be paying money for my followers to see my shit, they should fucking see my shit. And so I've been neglecting Facebook. But so has it been a budget. Sorry, not my shit. Literally.
No, I'm just going to take that audio recording and put that at the start of the podcast right before the introduction.
Oh, geez.
If I pay for shit, Facebook, something, whatever you said.
Darlene's angry about Facebook. Yeah. I really am, though. And I've really, I know I should be keeping up with it and stuff, but I've noticed a lot of bands are dropping out of Facebook because it's just made it really hard for us. I don't have money to spend on Facebook. I don't.
Yeah, and I don't think it's designed like.
The only reason Facebook is okay for anything to do with music right now is events. That's all I use it for when it comes to Pine now. Events and then the messages. Yeah. If that.
Yeah, because it's not even great at being interactive.
No.
Or at least in my experience with fans one-to-one.
No.
But I mean, Facebook owns Instagram, so they know that I don't know, smarter people than me are figuring it all out. Mm-hmm. But. Funny, earlier this week I saw someone post a Facebook ad. Mm-hmm. Or they sponsored a Facebook post and it was a review of their show. Yeah, so they played a show and then it was a positive review of the show and they sponsored that and I was like, are you kidding me? Someone's gonna put money into
sponsoring something.
They're literally
else.
And the thing is, I don't know how much money they put into it, but no one can purchase anything. I understand the intent, but it's just weird that you're literally paying for likes on.
If I'm paying for something, it's for a music video or a release. Big news. If you have the money to spend, cool, whatever. Make Facebook work for you all you want. But at the end of the day, what I'm putting my money into for my band is for the important stuff because everything else doesn't deserve it at this point. In the nicest way possible.
Mark Zuckerberg does listen to the podcast, so I'm sure he'll take note.
Not sorry, Mark.
Yeah.
I'm not.
All right. Well, let's I guess let's wrap it up
Are we wrapping it up?
Yeah. So tell everyone something, where to follow you, or all 6 people. You don't have to if you don't want to.
All 6 people. There's not 6 of us anymore.
That watch this?
Oh, I thought you meant Pine.
Yeah, tell the people in
Follow
Pine
us,
where to follow
all
you.
6 people. I was like, what?
Well, just you or your band.
Yeah. So once again, I'm Darlene. I sing.
Don't say it like that. Well, I mean, you can say it.
This is how I am. I'm just weird. I don't know. Whatever. I'm Darlene, okay? And I sing in Pine. If you want to follow me or Pine, just follow Pine at Pine Band. Yeah, for Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. If you want to follow me, it has a lot of R's and then _Marie, _Marie, and then you got it all figured out. So there you go.
Literally, no. Someone's gonna be typing in on Instagram. They're gonna put 2 R's and be like, "Oh, I guess it's more than that."
It's 3.
It's 3. Okay, there you go. All right. Thank you very much for.
Thank you, Cory.
Thank you for taking the time to be on this. And if you watch it to the end, you might be the first person to watch it to the end. Thank you.
Thank you.